All right. Okay. So today we'll be going over a little bit about building your personal brand on LinkedIn, us versus the algorithm. I don't know. Feel free to do the little hand raise thing. Has any of you experienced LinkedIn's changes this year? Feel free to do the little hand raise. Yes, there's been so many changes on LinkedIn this year. They're really changing their algorithm. It's starting to be a little bit more like Facebook was pre-COVID, in the types of posts and the types of messaging that is being pushed out. Obviously, Microsoft is a little bit slower at adapting different things, and we are seeing that they are now really adapting and making changes onto their platform, which we are excited to see and adapt to. All right. So a little bit about your profile. We pull this straight from our training. We have a great team of appointment setters. And the appointment setters that we have, we train them all on how to create a professional profile. And that's kind of where this comes from. To increase your response and referral rate, messaging you, all of those things, you want to be sure to have a professional looking profile. And this looks a certain way. LinkedIn has changed a lot of what they want. Our LinkedIn community is based upon interest and your personal mission, and your personal brand is just really important to keep in mind as you are building that out. Whether you're working for yourself or working for another company, it's you that you're putting out there, and you want to make sure that you're doing so in a way that's going to attract what you're wanting, whether that's a new job, whether that's more business, whether that's a professional persona that you're putting out there. It's really important to do. Another thing that we will do, if you have questions as we go throughout, you're welcome to click the little chat feature and type in your questions. And I will pause periodically throughout the presentation to answer a few questions. And we will take some time at the end to go through that as well. All right. A little bit about a profile photo. I know many of you may know this, but you want to make sure you're doing something that's simple. You want to make sure the photo is of you, not groups. We want to know who you are, and having more of a plain background. Even if it's like a blurred out background, like this one is right here, is really helpful to just make sure that it's you. It has been really important to make sure that you have a professional photo that is of you. Obviously you could even do it out in your yard, as you can see right here as well, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. It could be against the wall in your house, right? You just want to have some lighting, make sure that you can see yourself, make sure that it's showing who you are, right? You want it to be simple. You also want to make sure that you are smiling in the photo. Now, obviously, you can put across whatever persona that you want. Even, like this guy here, he's just doing a little smile. She's obviously doing a big grin. But you want to kind of have that positive, outgoing look to your profile photo. And we found that to be really effective when people are doing those changes. Also, something to kind of steer away from. I know there's been a big shift on this on LinkedIn, where people are doing more Instagram type profiles, more like just super attractive, more visually pleasing, making sure they're showing their curvy body or whatever it may be. Steer away from that on LinkedIn, just because it's not received very well by the community. It's just not. On Instagram, the algorithm picks that up and really pushes that, at least before the algorithm changes after the congressional stuff that happened. So you want to make sure that you're being professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not Instagram. It's not Facebook. It's not these other platforms. So you want to make sure you have that professional presence there. All right. Now, a little bit about our cover photos. We have a beautiful one here of one of our team members, Abby. This is a great example. So Snow Horse Marketing, we are a sustainability marketing company. We help women-owned businesses, profits, and those in the sustainability world. And so she has put just kind of a mountain-esque background, and progress starts with us as her. And she's had a lot of success because it's attracting those sustainability type people to speak with her. I myself have just our colors, right, and our little logo in the corner here. And that's really good for me. It's been a professional thing. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Obviously, as you look at this information, you want to use a photo that represents your field, what you're doing, something that's really reflective. If you're in a design world, you might want something really designed. If you are, maybe you're a videographer, you can actually make these into videos now instead of it just being a picture. You might want, you're a videographer, you might want to do a video, right? That might be a better fit for what you're representing for yourself. So do take the time to think about it. These are becoming more common, where it just has their website and like a little tagline or mission statement. Those are becoming quite popular as well and are awesome options. The other thing to really, really remember as you are building these out is this tagline. So one thing to know, everyone will see this. This is kind of like your elevator pitch, right? In writing. This is what everyone will see, whether they are using a software, whether they're just seeing your request, wherever they are going to see this tagline right here, this little bio. So there's a couple different ways to do it. One is dividing through these little slashes, and one is doing it through dashes. So those are kind of the two ways of doing it. We have found that there's a lot of success in putting something personal on there. This is one that I had for a very long time, a personal goal to meet 5 inspiring people a week. This has opened so many doors. Snow Horse Marketing has gotten, we have over 200 partnerships at this point, and a lot of it is because of this tagline that we put in right here, and it has made a huge difference. It's really important. Again, there's the minimalistic approach, like photographer, like this is who I am, a photographer, right? And then Abby here, you can see that she does grant writing and she also does the relationship management. So you can see a couple different hooks or ways to start a conversation. Again, this is something everyone's going to see. So if you send them a request and they see this and they're like, oh, I'm also interested in grant writing, or, oh, I'm also interested in networking with more people, whatever it may be, this is a great way to build out that network. All right, any questions on this one? Feel free to type it in the chat. We'll go over those in a bit. And you'll also want to take a minute. This is where I feel it's really important, especially when you're going through your profile, to think about, how am I representing myself? What am I putting out there? What am I wanting to attract into my circles? How am I wanting to look? And it's also a really great idea to have other people look over it. I know we've actually expanded our services to include helping with LinkedIn for our clients. And a lot of times they have us do a quick audit of their website as well. For this reason, sometimes just having that second pair of eyes going and looking at what you're doing can make a really big difference. All right, a little bit about the bio. So we went into this a little bit earlier, and I'm going to make this one a bit interactive just because I can. The hook, as we talked about, it's a sentence in the first 3 lines that are visible. So if you enter into your profile with a hook, ensure to click the see more. So it's the 3 lines. If it's anything more than the 3 lines, it'll be expanded. So if you want to, even just in the chat, if you want to identify what's something you would want, a good hook that you would want an introduction of, a good way to be an icebreaker if someone wanted to connect with you, whether it's a hobby, maybe it's a personal goal, perhaps it's a mission that you're interested in, or an expertise. What's an accomplishment that you've done? I know one that we're doing that I just added to mine is check out our podcast. So feel free to go into the chat if you want to take a minute to think about what kind of tagline would you want in your bio that might be a good hook. And for those who don't know, if you look at the bottom of your screen and you go over to, there's the hand up, the 3 dots, you can go over to the meeting details, the person, and the little chat. And that's where that is. So you're welcome to take a minute to think about that. And just think about, what are 3 lines that you would want to put out there? Even if you just want to write it on a piece of paper, or if you have a notes sheet open for you, what would you want to put out there in those 3 lines? It's a mission that you have, an expertise or skill that people would be interested in. Is there an accomplishment? Have you won an award? Have you been recognized in your area? A call to action. Yeah. Oh, I like that one, Ashley. Connect with 10 new people a month. That's a really good one. If you're in a networking phase, I would really like that one, really does work. Yep. Creating a better world. Yep. Definitely. You want to kind of put, if you're in sustainability or if you're a consultant, that may be a really good fit. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. So this is a little bit about your posts. So when you're posting and interacting on LinkedIn, um, it's really changed a lot. I'm going to say that. It used to be if you posted with a photo, the algorithm would push it down. I don't know how many of you remember when LinkedIn added the laughy face as a reaction. Like that was such a huge change, and a huge shift to what they had said for decades. So that was really interesting. But right now they're really making that flip, like I said earlier. And the algorithm is really changing to be more similar to how Facebook was pre-COVID, to how it is LinkedIn has ever been. So this is one of the changes that we are seeing. The things that you want to post is connected to an SSI score. Raise your hand if you know what SSI score is. If people do, we'll pass on that. I'll go into it. Anyone? Okay. So it doesn't look like many people know what SSI score is. Okay. So SSI score is your algorithm index, like your sales social index is what it's called. So it's how you are rated within the algorithm in LinkedIn is your SSI score. Now, many people will use like third-party softwares and other things like that to really know what their score is, to be able to read their score. There isn't an easy way unless you have like a special account in LinkedIn to find it in LinkedIn. You don't know what it is unless you're using some sort of third party or if you're registered for some of their promotional stuff, you can find that out. But what the SSI score is, it blends how much you comment, how much you interact, how many people interact with you, how the type of people you connect with, and how many people connect back and have conversations. Basically, how quality is your profile. And this has really hurt a lot of people recently. Just last March, we were able to connect with over 100 people a day on LinkedIn without there being any care in the world. But in December of last year, LinkedIn came out and sued a bunch of the third-party softwares that were making the platform very salesy, and everyone has different opinions about that. But in response to that, they've made a lot of changes into the algorithm. Now you can only connect to about 30 or 40 people a day at best. And this depends upon your SSI score. And SSI score is between 1 and 100. It also takes in consideration how many people you're connected with, all the interactions, all of those things. So it's really important when we say it's us against the algorithm, that's really what this is. Like the SSI score is huge, absolutely huge in being able to connect with more people, for people to see your post, anything you put out there. And it's not just LinkedIn doing this. Instagram does this, Facebook does this, Twitter is actually currently undoing this, or X, I should say. So it really is important to make sure that you know what you're doing, how it affects the SSI score. So the SSI score, sorry, I just got the little chat. SSI score is your social scoring on LinkedIn based upon how you're interacting with LinkedIn. And it really is us against the algorithm. Here at Snowhorse Marketing, we make ourselves a team. We are truly a team together. We share each other's posts. We comment on each other's posts. We make sure that we're interacting with each other in a way that can help everyone to improve. So I do recommend, whether it's within your company or whether you have a group of friends. Oh, you're welcome, Andrea. No worries. Whether you're with friends or within your company, you have a group of people who you will always comment and react on each other. And I'm going to go through a couple of best practices to make sure that your SSI score can be in the green, can be appropriate, can be functional, so people can even see your posts. One is you want to repost with your thoughts. So this is the repost button. I'm sure many of you seen it. If you just repost and you don't put any comments on it, any of the interactions that happen through your profile count to the original source. If you don't put your thoughts into it, you don't get the credit for that post. So always make sure you put a post. The post can be as small as just an emoji or just a word or wow, that's interesting, right? Or you can do a whole essay of information if you like with 3 hashtags, right? But do make sure you repost with a thought so that the interactions and impressions that happen on that post count towards your score. The next thing is you want to interact. So there's a lot of bots, a lot of third parties, a lot of softwares that are used out there. If you're using any other interaction than like, a lot of the bots and softwares use the like button, but they don't use the celebrate or the love because that's very contextual, right? So if you are ever reacting to a post, use anything other than the like will help improve the quality of how you appear online. You won't look like a bot. You won't look like your software just going out there. It will help validate that you are a person. So that is one that we found to be really effective as well. Next is polls. So polls, we on our team at Snowhorse Marketing, we encourage everyone to do 1 poll a week. And we encourage doing polls that are a little bit controversial. Like I remember when Twitter changed to X, I did a poll about what is your favorite social platform? And I said X as the first one, LinkedIn, Facebook, and I think Snapchat or something like that. Now, I didn't ask directly, do you like the new name X? But it had X as part of it. So if you're just a little bit creative, and that one exploded, and I had tons of comments, tons of people messaging about it. But because it was a topic that was hot at the moment, it really did expand what was going on. And so that was really good. Okay, so I recommend doing a poll at least once a week. And then we also encourage on our team for us each other to share a poll, someone else's poll once a week. So we have 2 polls every week that is being posted. Also, photos with graphics perform well. I know that's a big change. Those of us who've been on LinkedIn for decades were like, what? We used to be punished on LinkedIn for putting it up images. It wanted to be text only. That has changed. That has completely changed. If you have photos and graphics, they do perform well. One thing we recommend is get a Canva account, just a free Canva account. If, say, you're doing a post about, I don't know, hunting for new staff, right? Something like that. If you go onto Canva and you just get a graphic image of like hiring or interviews or something like that, screenshot it and put it in your post will perform better. The more custom the image, the better it performs. Also, if you take a photo of yourself, maybe you work remote and you're out walking around, doing your lunchtime walk, and you take a selfie doing your lunchtime walk, right? That will help improve your post as well. Anything with an image at this point is getting more attention that we have found. Obviously, there are some images that perform better than other images, and that's something we're currently testing just internally. And also with this group, you're welcome to connect with each other or connect with us and share your findings as well. All right, hashtags. As always, hashtags are still very important. It's important to follow hashtags. It's also important to use hashtags. The old adage we have found is still good to use 3 hashtags. We haven't seen much of a difference between putting it in the message and putting 3 at the bottom. We haven't seen enough evidence to say one way is better than the other. It seems to be as long as there's 3 in there, it does help boost it a little bit. All right, and then comments. All right, it's really important to comment. And if anyone comments on your posts, you always want to reply, even if it's with a thumbs up emoji or something, because then you have more replies, and the more replies and comments you have, the more people will see the post. All right, a little bit about LinkedIn Creator. Everyone can use LinkedIn Creator for free for now. So I do recommend going onto your profile and signing up for LinkedIn Creator. When you do LinkedIn Creator, you can choose to follow 5 hashtags. So this will show you what types of things it puts in your feed, but it will also help promote out the things you do that use these hashtags in those communities. So this is an example, I think, from Abby. Again, the grant writing's in here, sustainability, digital marketing, nonprofits, and editing. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. And you can also see your analytics here. So especially those who have the pro, you can get more fine-tuned analytics, which is fantastic. I go into mine at least once a week and look at this information, because it really does show you how many total followers are going up, how many searches you appear in. But the biggest thing is the post impressions. And if you click on this one, if you have access, it will even show you not just impressions, but interactions. And it depends where you are on the SSI score, which matters most. In the beginning, it's just impressions. But then once you hit about a 50 SSI score, it really does matter how many interactions you're getting, how many people are actually commenting, responding, things like that. So that one does really change based upon your SSI score, what really matters. All right. And then there are creator tools underneath. Basically, if LinkedIn's recommending you do something like write about this topic, click on it and do it. And even if no one responds, you'll get tons of impressions, because you're doing what LinkedIn's asking you to do. And we found a lot of those like LinkedIn prompts really don't build a lot of response. They just don't, but they get a lot of impressions. So they help your SSI score as well. So kind of it's a balance between posting stuff that the algorithm likes and will get you big enough, and posting stuff that you actually want to post. So you want to kind of dance that line in an effective way. All right, posting strategies. So we kind of went over this, but I just want to give a few examples. So photos, obviously I talked about using Canva. You can share a photo. You can even do a screenshot. Say you posted something somewhere else, or you saw another person's post and you even screenshot, size it, post it, tag them in it, say thanks for sharing this. That will perform better than just a reshare with a comment. It just will. So those are things that you can just keep in mind there. Obviously the poll, so this is an example, I don't know if you can see super well, of one Abby put together about tattoos in the workplace. People have really strong opinions about tattoos in the workplace. They simply do. And so this was a really great poll. We actually had all of our team members share it out. I know I got the most impressions off of this poll than anything else this month. So asking a real provocative question in a poll really does help get that attention, get those interactions, and get people commenting as well. All right, again, on the comments, as we spoke about before, really important, reply to all the comments. If someone tags you, don't just like it, also respond. Make sure you're saying something. And then also resharing the comments, as we talked about before. You don't just want to repost, you want to repost with your thoughts. Again, that makes the impressions and interactions at that point count towards your profile and not the original profile. Again, here's an example of just resharing. Here was a great post that I really enjoyed, and I reshared it with just an emoji as my comment. But then the interactions from my profile that count towards my score. All right, based upon what we've seen. Obviously, I'm not an insider, so I don't, don't take that away from this. But based on what we're seeing, that's the effect it's having. Video clips. So here's an example of one of my reports for top impressions. As you can see, the top 2 impressions were 2 polls, and then the third best impression was a video. Videos are now, I mean, again, for those of us who've been on LinkedIn for a while, that's a very new thing that's working. Also, as you can see in a lot of my comments and posts, emojis work really well. They also work really well in messages. So if you are outsourcing and messaging people, I encourage you to use emojis. It works really well. Also doing a cross platform is a good example. So this guy just screenshot your X post or your Instagram post, and then you post that. Also, here's a great example of he did a profile photo in the background. This is Alex Hermosi. He's awesome. He's a great sales guy. Lots of great tips from him. But then he also did in the middle of an old LinkedIn post. So you can see he did a photo and then he made it a video as well, if you can see here. So he made a photo of video and put a selfie on it with a plain background. And he also did a little repost from a previous post there in that white. This performs like crazy. These are all three elements that we know perform well. Video, doing a plain background profile picture, and then also doing a little chat. So he's layering these things together, and you'll see the big influencers do that as well. And then hashtags, again, we went over that. 3 we found to do that, and then also make sure you're doing the following as well. Another thing that's really important, I know we're running out of time and I want to keep to that and respect your guys' time, is social proofing. So whether you're reaching out in lead gen or cold calling or doing job applications or whatever it may be, you want to make sure you have this social proofing. You want to make sure that you have retargeting on your website or your profile page. You want to make sure that you're presenting yourself professionally. It's really, really important to make sure that you have a good SSI score on LinkedIn, but you also have the follow-up so people can find you other places. They can see your 5-star reviews, whatever else it may be. This is really important in making sure if you're using LinkedIn to network or sell, that you do look professional and not just scammy. And this will also help you improve your attention there. One last thing I just wanted to bring out, if you are interested in getting help with this, as part of our Pay It Forward program, we are meeting with people to do a little review of your LinkedIn page. We'd be happy to share a customized plan, see if it would be a benefit to you. Again, we're just giving back to the community that's given us so much. So feel free to, if you would like to set a time, put in your email address and we can have one of our team set up a time and you can meet with me personally and we can go through your LinkedIn profile and see if it's some things that we can improve. All right, what questions do we have? I know we're to the 30 minutes, but I scheduled a little extra time for myself. What questions do you guys have? Feel free to put them in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, you're welcome to just voice them as well. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Russ. We're glad to have you. We also we did record this training, and so we will be sending it out to you guys, so you can go back and review it as well.